Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coco and the Sun podcast, where today we read chapter 6 of Bringers of the Dawn. Mhm. Um, Before I continue, I'm trying to see if I have any understandings I want to share. I have a few, but I don't feel like I understand it in a way that I can clearly express it for the best understanding of all. So I just got a correlation with actual physical breathing and breathing by living in the present moment for bringing in the reality that's or things that are authentically aligned for you. That living in the present moment, moment by moment, like how you breathe moment by moment, to get the air that you need to live in the present moment, moment by moment, to get um the life that's best aligned for you. And I don't know how to explain it. I think I understand in my head, but I'm not able to explain it. So I think I'll be able to better communicate it later on. So you're hearing those are the jets. We have an Air Force base that's close here. And today they are really having those jets out. Haven't heard them for a long time. I don't know if they're having an air show soon that they're practicing for, unless something else is going on that I'm not aware of. I don't think the news has anything major right now that will cause that. So it's kind of cool to see them. You can see them flying up and you can hear them as well. You can hear them from far. They are loud. Um, so yeah, I think that's it. Feeling a lot more aligned with my power. And I want to see how that grows and how that solidifies in my being, my understanding, and in a permanent way, and how it will be integrated in how I live my life, right? How I communicate and interact with others and myself, my being. So I don't know, the energies feel kind of high today. Today's the 21st of February and 2024. And I know that tomorrow's supposed to be 2/22. I don't know if the energies are higher. For me, usually the day before, the energies are higher than the actual day. So like the day before the new moon or the day before the full moon, I will be processing and reminding myself to breathe, reminding myself that what I want to experience is peace and calm. And yeah, filling my day with things that bring that. So it's usually the day before. So I don't know if that's what's going on today, but the energies do feel very high today. So anyways, moving on to Bringers of the Dawn, chapter 6. I should put on my glasses. I brought it down. Just sometimes I forget it. But I did bring it. I got my thing to drink, my little fizzy drink. I don't think I'm going to fit though, because it made me like burp a lot the last time. I don't want to do that, right? Okay, wait, let me push this back. I feel like I'm all up in all your face. Okay, chapter 6, Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marcinian, Unlocking the History. Ooh, wait, y'all. Ooh, wait, we unlocking history today, y'all. Okay, wait. It is a good thing. You know what I was thinking? Like, I feel like in these chapters, there is some vibration or something when you read it, because I feel like it affects how you look at things, or like knowledge, little bits of knowledge come in with it. I think. I don't know. I got an understanding last night to an aspect of my existence that I didn't have before. It's a really cool understanding, and I'm very grateful for it. Like, I've been thanking God all day for sharing that with me. It's another way of seeing myself, and it was a beautiful way of seeing myself. And I don't know if it had to do with the chapter I read yesterday. Oh, I found the light. I found the light. Bum, 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 I like light. Do you like light? Oh, sunset light. The sunset, the sunset light, the sunset. Okay, can I read in the light? Let's. Oh, I think that scared the dog a little bit. All right. DNA carries the coding for this genetic material, and its helixes are made up of light-encoded filaments, tiny gossamer threads that carry information the way fiber optic systems do. But you only seen my eye, you ain't seen my face. But I like the light, so you look so. The pillar of light that you see that you use to activate yourself and to bring information into your body is also composed of light encoded filaments. These light encoded filaments carry a vast amount of data and information, and your body is filled with them. When bundled together and placed in a certain alignment, the light encoded filaments work together to release information that makes sense of the history they carry. The light encoded filaments inside your body are similar to a grand library, a library that is so gigantic it carries the history of your universe. During the course of the Earth's history, there have been many different species who have lived here. You have convinced yourself that humanity is native to the planet. Human beings were put here. People are in for a shock because they're going to discover very shortly the skeletal forms of very different creatures. Some of these have already been discovered, particularly in South America, though they have been either written up in your tabloid newspapers and passed off as a hoax or fearfully kept in secret. When the consciousness of humanity is raised to the frequency of receptivity, and the nervous system of the mass psyche is balanced to the point that you can have a paradigm shift, Earth itself will reveal its secret systems. Its secrets through a variety of means, such as hold on 1 second. So can I call you back?
I was just calling to tell you good night. Love you, bye.
Good night, love you too. Bye. That was my daughter. Through a variety of means such as weather patterns, earth changes, psychic discoveries, and so on, you will unearth a whole new history. The task you have before you is to consciously command, intend, and will the involvement of your DNA. Commanding and willing and asking for this is not easy, for you must move through many identities. From the historical perspective of your multidimensional existence or essence or soul, you have been all kinds of characters, and some of these experiences have been painful. They have been challenging and difficult. It is time for you to move through the challenges and unlock the history that is inside your body by allowing the light encoded filaments to rebundle, forming new helixes, and by allowing yourself to be receptive to what this new information in the DNA is going to plug in to you. It will not always make sense to your logical mind. You will learn that your logical mind has a place, a function, and a purpose, but that is not your identity. The logical mind is overused by many people. It is overtaxed and abused, and when you overuse and abuse the logical mind, you create stress upon your body. You do not always need to understand logically what you are experiencing. Watch yourself, maintain humor at all times, and maintain the idea that you are evolving. You will be going through many things because you are climbing a ladder of identity made up of your chakra system. The chakras are energy and information centers that are keyed into lifetimes in which you activated or expressed yourself in one area or another. It is imperative for you to discover your identity in the next few years. The light encoded filaments are a tool of light, a part of light, and an expression of light. These light encoded filaments exist as millions of fine thread-like fibers inside your cells. While counterpart light encoded filaments exist outside of your body. The light encoded filaments carry the language of light geometry, which carries the stories of who you are. These light encoded filaments were not previously able to come onto the planet because there was a pollution created by the dark team that kept them out. The light encoded filaments are like rays of light that hold a geometric form of language. They come to you from a cosmic database and hold information. Many of you are at the point where you don't need to have a healing done on your body. You need to have a spontaneous education or implant put into your body to teach you. This is what will be coming during the next number of years. Many of the people on this planet, particularly those working with crystals, will learn to fill and activate other bodies with these filaments. Individuals seeking this experience will have the filaments activated in their bodies to give them instant information and instant knowing. This is what education is evolving into. There will be beings who will assist you with all of this. You are going to have to be able to recognize these beings and to recognize other realities as they exist around you. When the information in the light encoded filaments are scattered, there was no burning of the libraries. It was simply that all the books were torn off the shelves and left in the center of the room. Imagine if you walked into a room the size of a gigantic stadium and all the books or information it had been filled with was pulled off the shelves and left in the middle of the floor. How could you find anything except by chance? Since humans don't believe in the order of chance, they have never followed the order that is within them. The information in the filaments was left inside of you, yet there was no logical way to make sense of it. So in the present time, how do you find the information? The information is going to reveal itself to you. That is the process. You don't have to go looking for it because this revelation is your heritage and who you are. As the DNA begins to form new strands, these new strands will travel along a nervous system in the body that is being developed at this time, and memories will come flooding into your consciousness. You must work to develop this nervous system, to pull light into your body, to oxygenate your system, to learn how to move through energy accelerations, and to call more ideas and experiences into your body. As this process begins to grow and nurture itself in your body, simply observe it, for you will want to know how to access it. Getting stuck in your dramas is like reading one of your books over and over and over again and not letting all of the information in other books come together. There's more. There's a whole story. This whole story has to do with your entire soul. As members of the family of light, you are agreeing to hold in your physical bodies a conscious awareness of all of your existences. You are agreeing to accept that you have done what you have done and the parts you have played in all these existences. and then to read different realities and change them according to the dictates of your agreement as a representative of the family of light. You have free will within this agreement, of course. The triple helix brings you into the feeling center. The feeling center is emotion, and emotion is your road or bridge to ticket to spiritual self. When people deny the emotional self, they can't get into the spiritual realms. The Christ once said, know thyself, know thyself. It's the same thing. That message was given on the planet a long time ago, but it was distorted so that people do not understand how grand indeed they were. And then all they had to do was rearrange themselves. The work is always internal. When you want to know how to go about bringing a change upon the planet, we always tell you to work with yourself. Develop yourself, move beyond the boundaries of self, learn to become multidimensional, to exist in the astral world, and to travel beyond the physical body. Stop defining the body as ending here, which is what society encourages you to do so that you can be controlled. In a free will zone, control is part of the game because someone wants to be in charge. You are members of the family of light. To what hierarchy and to what gods do you answer? DNA is a living history of truth and life. When one is able to merge with this history, one is able to go into realities without videos, tapes, or books. One is able to experience. Many native cultures were trained to find remnants of the living library left upon this planet. That explains their reverence for earth and animals and their understanding of the cooperation that runs through everything. These native cultures were purposely put upon the planet so that there would be a training ground and a place of potential memory activation when the time is right. DNA holds the code, it holds the blueprint of identity, the plan for existence, the history of the universe, and the history of life in this particular locale. And it is stored within the cells of humans. The original DNA of the stewards of this planet, the human occupants, had a gigantic blueprint system that was based on the number 12. The 12 strands of genetic material are therefore connected to many other representatives or informational sources that also number 12. Remember, reality mirrors reality. The 12 strands of information hooked the human occupant up with corresponding information centers in and out of the body. Earth is now entering a conjunction or lineup with purpose through which the original planners are returning to reactivate the 12 helix system in the occupying species, the human to date, and put Earth back on its track. When the biological library was conceived of eons and eons ago, it was decided that the stewards of the planet would hold the key to unlocking the data that was stored in this living library. How does this tie in? How does this tie in with the 12 information centers? When human chakra systems are connected, open, activated, information starts to seek its own expression and become available. There are certain things that will code or trigger this information, bringing it to the forefront of existence to get it to begin to express itself. When you are hooked into the information centers, 7 in your body and 5 outside your body, you are ready to receive energy through another set of 12 information centers. When you activate your own 12 chakras, you hook into energy stored in parallel sets of 12 centers that will further activate your process. This will eventually bring the brain into its complete full computer-like function. The 12 parallel realities hold ways to unlock information that has been secreted away. There are many steps to unlocking this information. 12 parallel realities. Wow. You can compare this to governmental deep security, which uses different levels of fingerprints and imprints to access the final bit of information. There are many different ways things must be connected if something very secret is stored away. The activation of the 12 strands of DNA coincides with the activation, spinning, movement, and opening of the 12 centers of information, the 12 chakras or etheric energy discs. This is the beginning of the connection of the spinning of the 12. When this alignment of energy takes place, it brings and pulls energy into the 12 heavenly bodies in your solar system. Wow. These bodies then begin to feed energy back to Earth. They activate themselves by releasing what they hold so that Earth can biogenetically come alive. So when our 12 chakras are open, then the 12 bodies in the solar system start to activate and release information to Earth. There are more and more of these groups of 12. The 12 universes spinning, for example. Through the spinning of the 12 centers, there will be a chaos of new consciousness, because when these 12 energy centers, particularly the outer 5, begin to hook themselves back up with the planet, there will be an incredible flood of new energy. The formation of the 12 helixes will not mean that you will become completely informed as a species. It means that in order to catapult the species of humans forward into a higher consciousness, there is a maximum and minimum mutation that needs to take place to create a new standard of operation. This mutation will bring in a new frequency level that each person will become affected by in their own way. The process could be compared to a new sun being born in your atmosphere. The 12 helixes certainly do not comprise all of the information inside the light encoded filaments. However, the forming of the 12 helixes will be plenty to give you as a species a much bigger picture of who you are. As members of the family of light, you know who you are. It is the humans who don't know who they are, since you are in disguise as humans. However, sometimes you trick yourselves into thinking that you don't know who you are either. You know from the internal portion of your being that you are a member of light. How do you know this? We call the Earth a living library because you all have an image of what a library is. It is a place where information is stored and available. We use this analogy because we intend to evoke the image that everywhere you go, you are in a library. You just haven't figured out yet how to translate the information or recognize where it is in the library. This is the image that we would like everyone to begin to have. It will create a greater loving for Earth and a greater realization that there's something for everyone to relate to in this place. No one need ever be alone when they find out that there is intelligent life willing to communicate with human beings. Once there is a formulation of the 12 helixes, which hook one up to the 12 information centers, the library will be activated. Humans are designed to be the key to access this information in the living library. There are many stories that we can go into about this. Millions of years ago, all life coexisted in this planet, particularly during the dinosaur period, when these large beasts operated as guardians of the planet, and certain energies were building to store data here. For many millions of years, this occurred. For right now, 12 is the system that connects. And if you look around, you will see it everywhere. It was a symbolic insertion for a reason, so that you would someday figure out that it connects you to something somewhere else. It is not your natural rhythm, but it is a group agreement to use the energy of 12 in many different systems of reality. It is a coded formula. Many things that make no sense to the logical mind make a tremendous amount of sense to the light encoded filaments and to the body as it is becoming more sensitive. There are those who would say that this is a very inefficient system and that it is not a natural flow, but the system of 12 is the flow that this planet was adjusted to. In actuality, if you look, you are a system of 13. How many times a year does the moon become full? 13. The system of 13 will come. You will open to it soon because you will move past time. The energy of 13 moves beyond logic and beyond the forced system. Now, as we have indicated, the family of light has come onto the planet to receive energy from the original planets. This energy will create a genetic alteration and reactivate and rebundle the light-encoded filaments. The filaments will make up the 12 helix system that can move the body into activation. This will make human beings very valuable because they will then be ready to be used to access the data that is stored in Earth. What is this data that is so important? It is the skies and insects and flowers and pigs and donkey tails and rabbit ears and all kinds of things. And it is for you to discover. We want to emphasize that when the data was stored in the 12 libraries, it was stored in many different layers. When you came into the libraries, there were different codes of clearance. In other words, there were many different ways of entering the libraries. You could not just walk in and say, I have free clearance to receive all of this information. Just as there is now security clearance within your government, so the libraries holding this information had security systems. There was reason to build the libraries in the first place, for the pulsation of tyranny was beating at the time. There was concern on the part of certain energies, the keepers of time, that information might get into the wrong hands. So, very playfully, libraries were designed in many different modes. The other libraries or rules are not at all like your world. The task for the keepers of time was to engineer a project through which consciousness could evolve, have information, and be utilized to access information. Originally, the role of the human occupant as the way showed to the library was one of great honor. Without the human occupant, one could not access the library. And the more tuned in the human occupant was, the more one could access the library. The human occupant had a certain pride in being loose enough and connected enough to find the data in all things. If humans were the library cards, then some were better library cards than others. There was training that went into being the library cards. And when beings came who wanted to find information on the planet, they would merge with the human occupant who was coded to respond to certain codes. If someone had a low code, they might only see a certain amount of something. Each one came with the purpose of accessing specific information. Information was not withheld from someone because it was secretive, but because the information was not electromagnetically suited for their biological structure. Data must be able to penetrate the belief system of an individual. Otherwise, the individual will blow up if they are overwhelmed with energy that is not strongly tempered with love. When something is strongly tempered with love, it prevents the individual from blowing apart and keeps them focused on receiving a very enlarged concept. This is how large concepts are transduced onto this planet. They ride the love frequency. Light frequency cannot carry large concepts because it is not connected with emotion. Love frequency is connected with emotion. When an individual is creating an expanded concept of themselves, there must be a love that gives the individual purpose. Without love, the individual does not feel there is purpose. Without love, the individual does not feel there is purpose, and the individual must always feel connected with purpose to understand how vast things are. You are going to discover someday that sex is part of the process. When you own your own sexuality, you will see opportunities, you have to express it, and you will decide whether you want to express it in those ways or not. As you become accessible, and as others utilize you to discover the library, you may have very interesting encounters as the years evolve. If you go back and study the scriptures in ancient manuscripts, you will understand that the gods came down and intermingled with the daughters of human beings. Sexuality has been used to spark the library card. There is something very dangerous in this. However, because it has been misused. That is why it is very important to own your sexuality and to be very certain with whom you share it. We don't want any of you to be in a position to be bought or enticed. You are advised to look and see if you experience others as being honest and having integrity, or whether they are flattering you. You are becoming stewards of power. There are traditionalists who feel we are making too much information available without supervision. We say that Earth is headed for a major collision, so no holds barred. We are flooding the planet, as are many others, with opportunities to remember. So as you begin to amass this knowledge and these abilities, there will be others attracted to you for their own reasons because of what they can access through you. When you are sexual with someone, it is like opening an avenue to the other libraries. It has to do with many, many things. Part of what we want all of you to do is love and honor your bodies. Love yourself and make certain that if you are going to be sexual with someone, that the person really loves you. It doesn't mean you're going to marry them, but there has to be love so that you know who you are bonding with. In this way, the discoveries that you make move between the two of you. We are not so much warning you as we are informing you, because you will see things happen to others who are not careful with their power. In other words, sexuality is not something to fool around with. It is a way to open many avenues. If one does not approach it carefully, one can attract energies even without having a partner. If one is using sexuality to activate information, one can invite the wrong energies in. So be aware of the frequency of sexuality, because it brings up the emotions, and the emotions are the key to accessing the data that is stored in the living library. How interesting. Sex unlocks the library and information. So their advice is to just make sure that you're using your sexual energy with someone you love. That's a different take a little bit. I mean, I think it's the best take, but no, I haven't filed. I'm sorry, I was texting. Didn't realize I'm still recording. Anyway, so it's quite interesting, right? We should use love when we're deciding to express ourselves sexually. This is a safe way of making sure the information is passed between people. Interesting concept. I like it. I like it. Anyways, wishing you guys a great night. Had no idea my head was blocking the leaf. You guys a great night. And a lot hoping that you know that you are loved, and such things. Bye.